The rain had no mercy that evening. It fell in heavy sheets, blurring the empty highway into a gray ribbon of loneliness. Daniel Rothman, a man whose name could move stock markets and silence boardrooms, stood stranded on the side of the road with a dead phone and a luxury car that meant absolutely nothing anymore. His tailored suit clung to him, soaked and heavy, as headlights passed without stopping. For the first time in years, the Millionaire CEO felt invisible. Powerless. Alone. And that was when an old, dented sedan slowed down beside him, driven by a woman who had every reason not to stop. Maria Alvarez tightened her grip on the steering wheel as she looked at the man standing in the rain. She wasn't naive. A single mother learned quickly that the world wasn't kind to those who hesitated. She had her 8-year-old son sleeping in the backseat, a bag of groceries beside him, and a long drive home to a small apartment where the heater barely worked. Still, something about the way the man stood there, soaked, defeated, not asking but hoping, stirred something deep inside her. Against her better judgment, she rolled down the window and asked if he needed help. Daniel hesitated. Every instinct he had was trained to distrust, to calculate risk, to remain in control. Yet standing there in the cold, he realized how absurd his pride was. He nodded. Maria unlocked the door. The moment he sat inside that modest car, the balance of their worlds quietly shifted. The drive began in silence, broken only by the rhythmic sound of rain against glass. Daniel noticed the cracked dashboard, the faint smell of coffee, the child's backpack patched with careful stitching. This was not pity, it was reality. Maria apologized for the mess, embarrassed in a way that revealed how often she felt judged. Daniel assured her it was fine, though the truth was, he felt more out of place here than he ever had in a private jet. They spoke cautiously at first. Small talk. Weather. Traffic. Then Maria mentioned she worked 2 jobs, cleaning offices at night and working at a bakery in the mornings. Daniel listened, genuinely this time, not half present as he often was in meetings. When she spoke about her son, Lucas, her voice softened, filled with a fierce love that made Daniel uncomfortable, not because it was too much, but because it reminded him of something he had lost long ago. As the miles passed, the conversation deepened. Maria spoke about dreams she once had, becoming a nurse, helping people, dreams she had packed away the day her husband died in a factory accident. No lawsuit. No apology. Just a letter and a silence that never ended. Daniel felt a tightening in his chest. Years earlier, his company had acquired a manufacturing firm. He had never visited the factories. Never read the safety reports beyond the summaries. He had trusted systems. Trusted numbers. When Maria mentioned the factory's name, Daniel froze. It was his company. He asked careful questions, his voice unsteady. Maria noticed the shift but continued, unaware. She spoke of how the company's insurance settlement barely covered the funeral. How she had written letters that were never answered. How she had learned to stop hoping. Daniel stared out the window, the rain now mirroring the storm inside him. In that moment, he realized this was not coincidence. This was accountability. They reached her apartment complex, small, dimly lit, but clean. Maria insisted Daniel take the umbrella. He refused, then noticed Lucas stirring in the backseat. The boy woke, rubbed his eyes, and smiled politely at the stranger. Daniel smiled back, a real smile, one he hadn't used in years. As Maria prepared to leave, Daniel finally spoke the truth. He told her who he was. Maria laughed at first, thinking it was a joke. Then she saw his eyes. The sincerity, the shame, the realization hit her slowly, painfully. Anger rose. Hurt. Years of swallowed grief threatened to explode. She asked him why he was telling her this now. Daniel answered honestly, because running away had finally become harder than facing the truth. What followed was not forgiveness. It was something deeper. Conversation. Accountability. Daniel didn't offer money. He offered responsibility. He promised to investigate the factory, to meet the families, to change the systems he had ignored. Maria didn't know if she believed him. But she saw something real in his voice, something broken and willing to rebuild. Over the weeks that followed, Daniel kept his word. He visited factories. He met workers. He shut down unsafe operations despite shareholder backlash. Lawsuits followed. Headlines criticized him. But something inside him felt lighter than any profit margin ever had. He established a fund for families affected by workplace negligence, not as charity, but as justice. Maria returned to school with support from the fund, not as a handout, but as an opportunity she had earned through resilience. Lucas watched his mother study late into the night, learning that strength wasn't loud, it was consistent. Months later, Daniel attended Maria's nursing graduation quietly, sitting in the back. When she spotted him, she nodded. Not in gratitude, in acknowledgement. 2 lives forever changed by a moment of kindness on a rainy road. Daniel never forgot the night he lost everything, and found something far more valuable. And Maria never forgot that sometimes, helping a stranger doesn't just change their life, it changes the world they're responsible for. The road that night was ordinary. The choice was small, but the impact was eternal.